In one of the most devastating natural disasters to strike Texas in recent memory, at least 24 people have been confirmed dead and dozens more remain missing, including many children attending summer camps, after catastrophic flooding ripped through the Guadalupe River Valley, particularly affecting Kerr County and surrounding areas, with officials describing the tragedy as an extraordinary catastrophe and declaring multiple disaster zones. Torrential rains dumped over 12 inches of water within a 12-hour span, sending river levels skyrocketing to their second highest and fifth highest points on record in Hunt and Comfort respectively, engulfing homes, sweeping away RVs, submerging entire campgrounds, and triggering hundreds of water rescues across Kerr and Kendall counties, as stunned residents, state leaders, and rescue personnel grappled with the scale of devastation. Governor Greg Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick appeared publicly to vow full-scale support, pledging state resources, helicopters, drones, and hundreds of emergency responders in a race against time to recover survivors and the bodies of the missing, while also promising around-the-clock search and rescue operations, declaring that no equipment or personnel would be spared to bring closure to grieving families, as the flash floods caught even seasoned locals off guard in a region known for its flood-prone terrain, but wholly unprepared for the magnitude of the current disaster. The tragedy eerily echoed the deadly 1987 Guadalupe River flood that claimed the lives of 10 teens at a Christian summer camp, with this latest flood unleashing chaos on Camp Mystic, where 23 girls were reported missing, as desperate camp directors pleaded for help after entire cabins were swept away and air rescue was urgently needed due to washed-out roads and collapsed structures, turning the serene hill country into a war zone of collapsed trees, destroyed infrastructure, and stranded survivors, clinging to rooftops or treetops, including 21-year-old Carson Moore and his friend Michael Painter, who managed to escape floodwaters by climbing out through a shattered window and clinging to trees for hours before being rescued and reunited with their tearful families, highlighting the terrifying unpredictability and brute force of nature that struck overnight without warning, a point made clear by Kerr County Judge Rob Kelly, who during an emotional press conference stated unequivocally that no one knew this flood was coming, confirming that the county lacked a warning system and asserting that the river valley is the most dangerous in the U.S., further emphasizing that residents had no reason to expect anything like the catastrophic wall of water that hit them without mercy. Officials established reunification centers at Ingram Elementary School and Arcadia Live in Kerrville to help families locate missing loved ones, while churches like Calvary Temple became hubs for support, staging rescue triage, and emergency response coordination efforts involving Texas Department of Public Safety, National Guard, and Salvation Army personnel, all as civilians scrambled to find safety and account for loved ones, with heart-wrenching stories like that of Julian Ryan, a 27-year-old father of 3, emerging from the wreckage. Ryan died a hero after smashing a window to help his family escape their flooded mobile home, severing an artery in the process, and succumbing to his injuries in a final act of sacrifice as his sister, who floated on her bed to escape rising waters and punched a hole in the ceiling to survive, recounted the terror with raw emotion. The flood's reach extended far beyond Kerr County, hammering Kendall County, where Comfort and Bone residents also faced destruction, including a dramatic rescue of a man stuck in a tree and the establishment of emergency shelters like the one at Comfort High School, where displaced residents were fed and sheltered, including a 91-year-old couple who escaped just in time and brought only the essentials, stating this was their 5th flood but the most terrifying yet. The sheriff's office and game wardens continued door-to-door searches and river sweeps throughout the day and night using helicopters, drones, boats, and on-foot rescue teams, combing the devastated landscape for any signs of life or recovery, even as emergency teams worked frantically to pull people from submerged vehicles and mobile homes, with local business owners like Lorena Goulion of Howdy's Restaurant describing a sudden flash surge around 3:30 a.m. that swept away all 28 RVs in a nearby park and prompted frantic evacuations by sheriff's deputies, often arriving just seconds before floodwaters made escape impossible, underscoring the need for improved warning systems and infrastructure preparedness. Meanwhile, Governor Abbott's disaster declaration unlocked vital funding and operational authority for affected counties as he issued repeated calls for cooperation, calm, and compassion, while stressing that the immediate priority was to save lives and account for the missing, while local leaders like Judge Kelly pleaded for prayers, donations, and support for the American Red Cross as they faced the overwhelming task of managing loss, damage, and uncertainty in the wake of historic rainfall and unprecedented flash flooding. With entire neighborhoods underwater, bridges collapsed, roads eroded, and power and communication lines down in many areas, Texas residents face not just physical but emotional ruin. Many of them expressing deep grief and frustration over the lack of timely warnings, while others praise the heroic efforts of first responders and neighbors who risked their lives to save strangers, with hundreds of water rescues documented, from helicopter hoists to swiftwater dives, as parents sobbed in reunification centers and survivors embraced under stormy skies, uncertain of what tomorrow might bring, but clinging to hope and faith as the state mobilized in one of its largest non-hurricane flood responses in history. This was not just a weather event, but a life-altering catastrophe that will leave psychological scars for years, a wake-up call to the deadly speed of rising waters, and a stark reminder of nature's fury when the skies open with fury in one of the most flood-prone regions of America, a disaster made worse by lack of preparation, minimal warning systems, and the presence of vulnerable populations like campers, children, and the elderly, all swept into a nightmare that unfolded with ferocity in the dead of night, leaving behind a trail of destruction, anguish, heroism, and a desperate call for accountability, resilience, and rebuilding.